It's November outside.
Yeah.
But in the booth, it's early September.
It's early September. Feels like August. August is never ending. I don't know how she did it this year. September 9th.
I know.
August 15th. That's how it feels.
Hi, Julian Benzavalli.
Hi, Patrick Hines.
Oh, fam. Listen, if you want more Julian and me, join us on the Patreon.
Yeah, that would be fun. It's a big party. That's where we do, the long form series. You get ad-free versions of these episodes.
Yep.
We do, I don't know, like Bad Vegan.
Yeah, Bad Vegan. So it's basically over 350 full ad-free bonus episodes.
There you go. That's
Download
a much better way to say it.
Second.
Thank you.
You get them all right away. Yeah, Bad Vegan, I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Yeah.
The Gacy thing from Peacock.
Tinder Swindler,
Yes.
Hillsong, the whole thing.
What was the one with the Puppet Master?
Puppet Master. You almost did a puppet
I almost
hand.
did a puppet.
It's gonna be me, action.
Bye, bye, bye. Is that the same thing?
No, it's gonna be me.
Okay,
That's what I said.
All right.
Bye is this.
Okay.
And this.
Well, also join the Facebook group, fam. If you want to know information about Obsessed Fest Year 2, that's probably going to be where we're going to drop it first.
Yeah, I would think.
True Crime Obsessed podcast discussion group. And then follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
We're releasing 3 videos a day, fam. It is so fun over there. You're getting the in-booth recording session moments.
Yeah, we finally have an answer to where can I watch your podcast?
Mom, I have to
Over
teach
on
my mom
TikTok.
how to download TikTok.
Oh, boy. Or Instagram, because they're also on Instagram.
That's true. That's where they are.
That's right.
All right, girl. What are we talking about today?
So this is Killer Cases, Episode 3,
Yeah.
Murder in the Kentucky Hills.
Yes.
There was no doubt about who pulled the trigger. This wasn't a whodunit.
And I grabbed the gun and I shot him.
The question that was left for all of us to decide was the why.
Very bizarre. Nothing like I've ever heard before.
Miss Hubers' psychological condition was seriously abnormal.
At any point in time, when you were with Miss Hubers, did you see tears?
No, ma'am.
This case was about 2 people who never should have gotten together.
Ryan always put pressure on me to orgasm.
I thought that she was clingy. I thought she was a girlfriend that couldn't let go.
He had a new love interest. That's what sent her over the edge.
She was just very, very upset, and she was kind of saying how she was going to kill him.
There were only 2 ways he was leaving his condo that night. Either as Shayna's boyfriend or in a body bag.
Right at the top, we learn about the victim. His name is Ryan Poston. Everyone just describes him, except for the fucking killer. Everybody describes this guy as like the nicest, laid-back guy. He was a great lawyer. He's 29 years old, and he has his own firm.
I know, but they also say looks mattered to him.
I wrote, my note was, hey, at least he said it out loud.
Yeah.
You got to respect the game, GP.
Yeah, look, hey, I didn't have my own law firm at 29, so what the hell am I
His
doing?
own law firm.
I was shocked.
Here's my question. Who wants to work that much at 29 years old?
You.
When I was 29 years old, I was bartending. I was not working as much as I am.
But you're a hard worker, just in
That's
general.
true.
Like, your work ethic is there.
But I'm assuming Ryan at 29, his work week was like a 60-hour work week.
And I also assume that as a lawyer, there's a lot of like dues-paying years where you're working as an associate and then you make partner. But
you know a lot about the field of law.
We've been podcasting about true crime for over 5 years.
And I'm like, I've watched every season of The Good Wife.
I've picked up a couple things, 2, 3 things here and there about our legal system. What was the word that threw you off? Was it associate?
Associate. Yeah. I feel like what I've picked up from these episodes of all the years is like how to be interrogated.
Yeah, or how to not be.
Yeah.
One word, lawyer. It all comes back.
Except in one of these, she asks for a lawyer and then she doesn't pause and wait for the
I'm just going to keep talking. While we wait, why don't I
Absolutely.
just confess?
Speaking of looks being important, they were important to Ryan, but they were also important to his new girlfriend, Shayna.
Shayna Hubers.
Yeah.
Looks also matter to her, we learned. College student, and she's across the river in Kentucky.
Apparently, she's also very smart. She did high school in 3 years. She's got a music scholarship. Good for her.
Yeah, she had a lot going for her, as
Yeah.
they say. They met on Facebook because Ryan really loved the bikini photos from spring break. These are all the words of the show.
It's true. They say
He added her as a Facebook friend after he saw some photos from her from spring break. Shayna's a very pretty girl. That's undisputed.
He's like, oh, I see this hot girl on vacation. I'm going to friend request.
I've learned that that's sort of how things have been starting to happen. I don't know. I don't accept friend requests from people I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I'm also not like single and looking to mingle.
I guess.
So maybe if that's what you're, I mean, I don't think it's that out of the ordinary.
Okay, that feels sometimes like I feel like my boomer is showing.
I feel like we hear that a lot where it's
Yeah.
like, I didn't really know her, but like we talked a lot on Facebook, or I didn't really know
guess.
him. I feel like that comes up more than we are remembering right
Look,
now.
it's a fine way to meet people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying that, like, I don't know. If somebody likes my bikini pictures and then friend requests me, I feel like they're in for one thing.
Yeah.
And it's not my personality.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
I think everyone here knew that.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
I'm the only one late to the party.
Yeah.
Got it.
Boomer.
Okay. I'm not actually a boomer.
You're not
I'm
actually
not
a
that
boomer.
old.
No, you're not.
Okay.
So they dated on and off for about 18 months.
Yeah, I want to say we see a shot of one of the attorneys saying, Shayna was a pretty girl. This is not disputed.
But then they continue.
He saw something that he liked looking at, I guess.
Ryan saw something that he liked looking at, I guess.
Yeah.
Lawyers?
I know.
Why do we do this?
It's also, I feel like, hard to get the families to participate in these things. So kind of the lawyers are the only talking heads we get.
And we learned that everyone sort of hated everything about this case.
Totally. That's true.
Couple things in particular as we move on.
Exactly.
It was a very rocky relationship.
They dated on and off for more than 18 months, leaving a trail of text messages that documented a very rocky, on-again, off-again, obsessive relationship, replete with jealousy and deceit and rage.
We learned that Shayna was really jealous.
Can I just say, and please don't put me in the position of coming to the defense of straight white guys, but I feel like he kind of wasn't the dick here. I feel like she was very overbearing, and I feel like he wasn't that into her.
Yeah, and I think he says as much. I do think, I'm sure probably early on, because it's easier, I think, for men to like lead people on and not say things outright. But he does eventually say things outright.
Yes.
And she's choosing to steamroll right over it.
Yes, because it seems like she's very much interested in a relationship, and it seems like he was just kind of there for the sexing. And then once the sexing got old for him, he wasn't interested anymore. So maybe he kind of wasn't.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so what? Here's what we know.
Okay, great.
Why
don't we stick to the facts? We'll just do that. Yeah.
Happily.
Great.
There are texts about how Shayna would go onto Ryan's Facebook account and block other girls.
Yeah.
She'd go through his phone saying things like, please love me back, even as a friend.
Yes.
And Ryan's really not into this. And
No.
like days leading up to the murder, Ryan was pulling away.
Yeah.
Shayna, of course, that was making her more upset and saying, I can't let you go. Don't leave me. What is it? Am I not pretty enough?
I gotta tell you, that really fucking broke my heart. That
Yeah.
this woman really just thought she was only worth her looks.
Right. And Ryan just saying, you deserve better.
Yeah.
This isn't the relationship for you.
Yes, exactly. And she ends up being total fucking trash.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I hate that women out there are made to feel in some cases like they're only worth their bodies.
Absolutely.
We found countless instances where Shayna Hubers would show up at his apartment, somehow get in, and be laying naked on the couch when he came home from work. And Brian just wasn't that into her. She tried everything she could from a sexual perspective to get that interest. It just wasn't working.
Speaking of bodies, don't do this,
Okay.
anyone.
Great.
Shayna,
Everyone pay attention. She's making a rule.
Don't do this anyway. This is this is not my rule. This is a rule I believe is already out in the world.
Great. Just reiterate it, please.
Don't break into someone's apartment and be there waiting for them naked on multiple occasions. Once is bad enough. Don't do it at all.
Look, unless you're Ryan Phillippe for me, in which case I will gladly give you my home address.
He has come up on every single episode.
I particularly have him on the brain. I particularly have you, Mr. Phillippe, on the brain.
Oh, boy.
The last couple of weeks. We put cameras in the booth, Ryan. There's going to be a lot of straight talking to you.
Hi, Ryan. Do you remember? Seriously, do you remember that time we met on the street in New York City?
One time you restoried me a couple months ago. Anyway. But yeah, on multiple occasions, she would break into his home.
This is not okay. This is not okay.
The prosecutor also says she would find a way into his home. She did not have a key. This woman is climbing in through a window.
She's breaking into his home.
Yeah, to get naked.
After he's like, this is not the relationship for you.
Yeah.
I think this is not working. And her response, that's not okay.
No,
you
I
can't
agree.
do that.
I mean, you're breaking into somebody's house. I agree.
And showing up naked, you can't do that.
I know. It's I feel like you're not hearing me. I agree with you.
Good. I'm not hearing you at all, to be totally honest with you. I'm hearing you being like, yeah, but, and I'm like, no.
But if you happen to be Ryan Phillippe.
That's the one. I see what you're saying. So I was hearing you.
How does he still look like that? He's almost 50. How?
I don't know.
It's unreasonable.
He's drinking that Paul Rudd elixir, I think.
Totally.
Whatever the fuck Paul Rudd is doing.
Paul Rudd looks like Ryan Phillippe's grandpa.
Okay. What is this Paul Rudd slander out of the fucking clear blue sky? I'm not standing for it.
Ryan Phillippe looks so good.
Yeah. Other people are allowed to look good. We have to move on.
Okay.
So Shayna tried everything to get Ryan to respond to her in some way. It's not working. And then on top of that, Ryan meets someone else.
He had finally found the strength to say he was done. Business was good. His friends were good. And he had a new love interest. That's what sent her over the edge.
A former Miss Ohio, Audrey Bolte.
And she happens to be like a Miss Ohio. It's not just someone else.
That's what I'm saying. She's not just anyone.
Uh-huh.
She just happens to be a beauty queen.
And they also met on Facebook. Like, they've never met in real life. Like, the night that he was murdered, he had a date with her.
It was supposed to be their first date.
Yeah.
So hours before Ryan is shot and killed by Shayna, Shayna was downloading photos of Audrey to her computer. So she knew about the date and she was like cyber stalking.
This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is there nobody in Shayna's life who's like, let it go? Just, you got to move on. Like, I would think we've all been obsessed with a person before.
Yeah.
What is and I know, I can picture the person, right? Like, totally, completely obsessed with this person in a very unhealthy way. Why is it that I didn't break into his house and kill him and this person did that? What's the disconnect?
Do you hear that song Colorblind by the Counting Crows in your head? Because it's Ryan Phillippe from Kill Intentions, right? Remember that song Colorblind where they have sex?
Pull me out from inside.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, why can't she let it go?
I don't think Shayna would hear that. Like, let it go. Why? Like, she's not in a place where she could. And I don't know if she's really telling people that she's doing this. I think that's part of it. That she's not telling other people because other people would say, like, Shayna, you have to stop this.
You have to stop this.
This isn't right. But then we learned that she was talking about it, so who knows?
Yeah. So we learned the whole murder happens at 8 p.m. on a Friday night at Ryan's condo in the Highland Heights section of Kentucky.
Then we get this 911 call.
Oh, my God.
We hear Shayna. She says,
"Oh, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense." Okay. Hold on. What did you kill him with? A loaded gun in the house. Can you tell me where the gun is right now? The gun is in the house. I laid it on the bookshelf. Where are you? I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body.
She says, I shot him. The gun is on the bookshelf. She's standing 15 feet away from his dead body. The dispatcher goes,
I know.
Are you sure he's dead?
She says, yes, he's completely dead.
Here's what Shayna did. She shot him, called her mother, and then waited 15 minutes to call the cops. Then she says to the 911 dispatcher, and we hear this on the call.
Yeah.
Shayna killed Ryan because according to Shayna, Ryan beat her, tried to carry her out of the house, then she ran back in to get her things.
Yeah.
He grabbed the gun to shoot her. She grabbed it out of his hands and pulled the trigger. No injuries on her, but apparently he threw her onto the couch.
And I gotta tell you, this 911 operator is onto her.
Yeah.
Like, this 911 operator says to her, do you need it? Like, we understand we're coming for him. Do you need a separate ambulance? And she goes, no.
Because the scene that Shayna is painting for us is very violent on both sides. That Ryan was beating the hell out of her, dragging her in and out of the house.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the dispatcher's like, what about your injuries? And Shayna's like, what injuries? I don't have any.
She literally says, he beat you, but you're not injured.
Yes.
I was like, this lady, for every 911 operator that we've, like, dragged, this lady is asking the good questions.
Right. As someone's already on their way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then Shayna says, completely unprompted, this is so fucked.
Yeah.
She says,
And then because he was twitching and I knew he was going to die anyway, and he was making funny noises, I shot him a couple more times just to kill him because I knew he would have been. Yeah, I'm sorry, you said you shot him a couple more times after that because he was twitching and you knew he was going to die, so you shot him again? I have to make sure he was dead because he was twitching so bad and I wanted to lay there and twitch. So you shot him instead of calling 911? I did because I knew he was going to die anyway.
So the the dispatcher goes, I'm sorry, what? So just to recap real quick, you shot him. He's on the floor alive.
Yes.
You shot him a few more times to make sure he's dead instead of calling 911. And Shayna's like, absolutely, yes, you got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Then we jump cut to the interrogation room. We meet Officer Dave.
Okay. Shayna asks for a lawyer.
And Dave is like, okay, I was in there 1 second. I'm getting up
She said
ready
the
to
magic
go.
word. That's it.
Bye.
As they're getting up, she's like,
After giving her Miranda, she said that she wanted an attorney, and I pretty much quit asking her questions. She started talking. She didn't like to be in there by herself. She wanted someone there the whole time to hear her side of the story.
I feel like the cops are kind of like, she said lawyer, but she's still talking. What's the protocol? I guess we just let her talk and record it.
That, as the cop, that's when you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up and let her talk.
Shut up. And she just keeps talking, and she is chatty. She is not upset. She's almost enthused.
To the point where Officer Dave needs a break. They got to send somebody else in.
Yeah. Sometimes she's crying.
Right.
When she's not crying, she's kind of perky.
Yeah.
Trying to be friendly.
And Dave was like, she did not want to be in that room by herself for 1 minute. She just wanted people in there to listen to her talking.
And the more she talks.
Can you imagine her in real life? Like Shayna at a bar? Oh my God.
No, I don't want to, I wouldn't want to be around her either.
No.
You know, like.
You and Shayna would not be friends for sure.
No.
No. I feel like me and Shayna would be friends for one night.
5 seconds. If you met Shayna the right amount of buzzed, you'd be like, she was so nice. And I'd be like, girl, what? And then the next morning, you'd be like, oh, she was annoying, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 like super lukewarm Chardonnays
Yeah.
You'd be okay with Shayna.
Hey, Shayna, you need another drink?
She's not so bad. And then the next morning, I'd be like, remember that? And you'd be like, oh yeah,
no.
God, she's the worst.
Wait, she texted me 47 times.
Yeah, because you told her to. This is why.
I know.
The more Shayna talks, the more she elaborates about her story. So Shayna says,
and he had put his arm across the table and had it in my face and was screaming at me at the top of his lungs after he had thrown me around the room and was saying emotionally to me, you're a fucking hillbilly. I fucking hate you. I hate your fucking Eastern Kentucky accent. I hate your mother.
You're a fucking hillbilly. I hate you. I hate your stupid accent. I hate your mother. I hate your friends. I hate everything about you and who you are. This is Ryan talking to Shayna.
No,
apparently.
I don't believe that that's real for a minute.
No.
And Shayna, where does that come from within you? Like, have you heard that your whole life? Is that what you think about yourself? Like, she is a very, very fucked up person.
Yeah, or is it like a really great thing to say when you're going to claim self-defense?
But all of these people, like the one in the next episode too, like they're just not thinking 2 steps ahead. They have no answer for anything.
Because she just keeps talking about how violent that night was.
Yeah.
He threw her around the room.
No marks on her body anywhere.
And no indication of a struggle of violence when they go to the house.
Which is amazing. We see pictures now, like obviously we're going to talk about guns for 5 seconds, but he's got all these like bullet casings lined up on his desk.
Yeah.
The desk that she says he
his
threw her
knickknacks
into.
were like bullets.
Yeah, which is so gross.
I know.
But all of them are still standing upright. Like there was no struggle in that room.
Right. But
there's nothing overturned. There's like a weird like 1980s exercise bike in the middle of the room.
Right.
Like Ryan.
Yeah.
Just go to the gym, girl.
Take a walk.
Totally.
But they keep saying the house looks like, nothing happened. And I'm like, it's still really messy to me.
Well, and I will say that doesn't comport with what I thought about Ryan because he's so successful. And who knows? Like, whatever. Maybe he's just messy. I'm fucking messy.
Yeah.
But like,
he's 29. Like, he's still a young guy.
Totally. And when you see his house and like the table where the gun was, like, it is a mess. The place is.
It is, right?
But there's a difference between a mess and a struggle because they're saying like all of these delicate things are still
upright. The chairs are upright. Yeah. There's stuff everywhere, but that means nothing.
Exactly.
The thing that the cops say 1,000 times is like, there's no whodunit here.
Right.
Shayna says 1,000,000 times she shot him. Then he was alive and she shot him to kill him.
I know.
She will say this to anybody who'll listen to her.
And then she takes a page out of the fucking Jodi Arias playbook. The people leave her alone in the room for 1 second.
Over the years, I've seen people who have been in shock. I've never had anybody tell me that someone pirouettes when they're in shock, that someone sings when they're in shock, that somebody snaps their fingers and says, I did it, when they're in shock.
I did. Yes, I did.
She's doing pirouettes.
Yeah.
She's singing. She's snapping her
She's got her
fingers.
shoes
going,
off.
Yep.
She's got her shoes off.
She does.
It's a killer roll all over again. She's got her fucking shoes off.
2 offs ago, it was off.
What?
She's got her fucking shoes off.
She's humming.
I know.
She's singing.
But she's snapping her fingers going, yep, I did it.
I did
yep,
it. Yeah, and like this very sing-songy kind
Does she not know that she's being recorded?
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine she doesn't know that, right? Well, maybe she doesn't.
I don't know.
I mean, she did ask for a lawyer and then not wait for one. I mean, she's not thinking clearly at all.
Or, yeah, it's just who knows.
So it goes to trial. Shayna is immediately found guilty of murder. Slam dunk case. She gets 40 years.
And
right?
I was like, well, then why are there 30 minutes left in this episode?
Well, not so fast. We eventually learned that there was juror misconduct, that one of the people on the jury had been previously convicted of a felony, to which I asked, how did he even get here?
And also, are we going to talk about, like, letting prisoners, once they've done their time, like, have their fucking lives back?
I know.
Jesus.
Do you know how many politicians, read Damien's book, how many politicians wrote to Damien on death row asking for his support?
No.
And he's like, I can't fucking vote anyway.
Oh my God.
But asking him, like, basically to be a mouthpiece for them and asking for his support as he's on death row. So even if he got out, thank God he did, but he can't vote anyway.
It's just crazy. Like, this guy shows up, does his civic duty, like, finds her guilty because she is, and then they have to throw out the whole case because he had been convicted of a felony at some other point in his life.
I'd love to know what the felony was, though.
Sure. Like, I'm sure that I'm just saying in general, it just made me think that, like, we just need to re-look at this.
It's because they know the inside of the justice system.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've seen the other end of it, and so I think our corrupt system doesn't want them involved because they know too much.
Yeah, and so, like, the judge orders a new trial for Shayna.
Her conviction's overturned.
Yes. The prosecutors are just like, this is a nightmare. Like, Shayna's such a fucking wild card. Yeah. We have no idea what her defense is going to be. And then when she takes the stand, like, what is she going to say? And I wrote, oh my God, it's not a question of if she takes the stand. It's a matter of when.
Of course.
You always hear in these cases that, like, the people on trial for murder never take the stand. And they know. Yeah.
Not Shayna. Now, we meet Kyle, the prosecutor, and he says,
there's a big river separating northern Kentucky from Cincinnati.
You will find on juries here, as opposed to possibly over the river in a bigger city, that people believe in more traditional values. People expect people to conduct themselves in a certain way.
We expect people to conduct themselves in a certain way. Oh, fuck. What the hell does that mean?
Not a gay bar in that town. I'll tell you that right. Totally.
What does that even mean? What are you saying?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's, traditional conservative fucking family values, I guess.
Okay, great. Thanks, Prosecutor Kyle.
Totally. We're at trial day 1.
The second trial now.
Yeah, we're at the second trial day 1, and they're saying she was gorgeous, she's well-dressed, and they were afraid that, like, people were going to take one look at her and be like, there's no way somebody who looks like that could have done what they're saying she did.
Yeah, lawyer Kyle's like, don't be distracted by how young and pretty she is. Don't do it. Whatever Shayna wants, Shayna gets. And I'm like, hello, damn Yankees. Whatever Shayna wants.
No, don't put her name in that song.
No, I won't. I'm sorry. Queen Gwen Verdon. I apologize. But then we meet David Eldridge, who's Shayna's new defense lawyer. And brand new strategy.
Yes. He's saying, look, we're no longer going with the self-defense strategy. We're going with her state of mind. Because in the state of Kentucky, they say if you kill someone and intend to kill them, it's murder unless it's done under extreme emotional disturbance for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse.
And on top of that, he's also saying that she has borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And like many other psychological disorders. So he is also saying this was brought on because she was horribly abused by Ryan. That's not how borderline personality disorder works, by the way, but
yeah,
I'm not a lawyer.
No, and they're saying if the jury goes for this, she would be convicted of manslaughter and be out like in a couple years.
Exactly. So we're talking to Dave the cop, who was the first guy there.
Yeah.
Who basically says again, like, there was no evidence of a struggle at the scene of the murder. Nothing was knocked over. And then we are really like going into this video that people cannot wrap their heads around. Like, now we're hearing from all the talking heads, the cops, the lawyers, and they're all like, you have the video, right? You're going to play it on whatever. What channel is this on? You're going to play this video of her like pirouetting and dancing and snapping and like.
It's just, why would you do that? Like, the only reason I could think that she was doing that was so she could eventually claim some kind of psychological disturbance.
Well, the lawyers are saying, you're exactly right, Patrick.
Yes.
Beautiful tropical fish. That's exactly what we're saying. And they're also, the lawyer's like, and while we're here, thanks so much. Hi, I'm a lawyer. Here's my card. Yeah. And he's like, while we're here, I just want on the record.
Any defense lawyer would tell you that they would just as soon their client not have talked on a videotape for 3 hours after the events. No defense lawyer would say that was a good idea.
No defense lawyer would say that talking to the cops without a lawyer is a good idea. I just want that on the record.
Yeah.
That I think that my client at the time made a bad decision.
Yes, and like both sides are talking about this video. The prosecution is saying, like, listen to her. She's admitting to killing this guy, right? She's like, yep, I did it. Yep, I did it, with the snapping, like, open and shut. And the defense is saying, like, no rational person would act that way.
Right.
No rational person would, like, so clearly the emotional disturbance that we're talking about is real.
Now we get to meet Dr. Christina Euler, who is a dentist.
And also Shayna's best friend.
Well, this is one of those things. Shayna thinks they're friends. Right. Dr. Euler is a dentist. And I'm sure a lovely person. But Dr. Euler does not think that they're friends. Like, Shayna's just a person who texts her a lot.
Yes.
And we see all the texts.
Yeah, but before we get to Euler, let me just say that it's this scenario that, like, if I showed up to testify against Shayna, she'd be shocked.
Right.
She'd be like, girl!
Right. What about those lukewarm Chardonnays we shared? Did they mean nothing? Yes, they meant nothing.
You hate Chardonnay
I hate
so
it.
much.
Explain to me why it's always warm. I need a scientist.
It's not. I had an ice-cold Chardonnay last night.
Says you.
I'm a Chardonnay celebrity.
Oh, boy.
Chardonnay celebrity.
It's been so long.
I know.
Since you've said it. I wonder what the streak is. I should have been keeping track. We should have one of those things on the wall where it's like 0 days since Patrick Leberty. How many days since our last Leberty? Back to 0.
So Euler gets on the stand, and we see this insane text message that Shayna had sent to the doctor.
Yeah, I have all the screenshots.
Yeah, you want to read them?
Sure. From Shayna at 10 o'clock at night.
I know.
Dr. Euler has patients in the morning. Leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
And I'm sure it's all blue. Like, I'm sure it's just all from Shayna.
Yeah,
Ryan's been begging me to ask if you could do his veneers. But please F them up and make him ugly so he'll never get another girl. I hate him.
And what is the next exchange between yourself and Miss Hubers?
When I go to the shooting range with Ryan tonight, I want to turn around, shoot and kill him, and play like it's an accident.
I want to turn around, shoot him, kill him, and play like it's an accident.
So we'll get to the second one in just a second. Can you imagine Euler being like, this bitch wants to send her hot boyfriend to get the veneers and she wants me to fuck him up?
Let me say something.
Yeah.
These texts are in reverse order.
Yes.
The one about going to the shooting range was on October 1st.
Oh, wow.
The one about doing his veneers is 9 days later on the 10th.
Wow.
So that's interesting to me, that she's going from, I want to shoot him and kill him.
Yeah.
And now with the veneer. Like, doesn't that seem like out of order?
The reason they're playing them in order at trial is because they want to leave you with Shayna's premeditated idea that, like, I'm going to shoot him and say it was an accident. Because what ends up happening is that she says, I shot him, but it was self-defense.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Also, the veneers and do it on like, she just wants this guy's life ruined.
Of course, but like Dr. Euler, like, again, I feel like she and Shayna met one night at a bar. Euler, it was a Friday. She got the weekend off.
Or Shayna went to, like, get a cavity or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, or she's, like, actually a patient of Dr. Euler's. And she's like, do you know how hard it is for me to close my office? And I'm here, like, on the stand about this thing?
So after Euler gets off the stand, they bring up Miss Ohio.
Audrey.
Looks like $1 million. She definitely still has her extensions in.
Great, good for her.
I know. I love an extension.
And she says, like, yeah, we hadn't even met. Like,
I know.
Audrey and Ryan hadn't met in person. They didn't even have their first date yet. They were just flirting on Facebook. It wasn't like Shayna took this to be, oh my God, they're going to get married.
Yeah.
And Audrey's here to say, like, we were just having a good time on Facebook and we were going to meet and, like, see where it goes.
It also just seems like Facebook was Ryan's means of meeting people. And it's just like, wow, everybody he messaged him back, including Miss fucking Ohio.
I know.
God damn it.
How do you become Miss Ohio?
There's like a whole circuit. You got to start at like the local lady cornfield thing, and then you do like the butter
The
day.
what?
Yeah, it's like the
Are
local.
those real things?
No, I'm making them up. But like, that's what they're called. It's like the
I would have
local,
believed you.
the local lady Butterfield day.
I would absolutely.
And then you do
believe
like
that.
you're the queen of the fair or whatever.
Okay.
And then that transitions into like some sort of dance moms moment, and then that stumbles into like being in the semifinals for the pretty girl off. And that's how you win.
Great.
Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk about pageants.
I wish I had a bouquet of flowers and a crown, so you can have all
And
your
a
eye makeup
sash.
and a sash and all your eye makeup down your face because you're crying so hard.
God.
You're beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ryan, I love you.
Oh my God. And the defense is saying, like, calling Audrey to the stand is really a dig to Shayna. And I'm like, not really.
Although, when they said that they only called her to make Shayna mad, I was kind of like, oh, I kind of love that.
But, like, of course they did.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking before, like, not only is Ryan, quote, leaving her. I mean, they weren't even really together. Ryan and Shayna, like, their relationship was not really happening.
Yes.
It was on and off, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
He didn't just, like, leave her for some other person in Cincinnati. Like, it had to be Miss Ohio. Like, if you're Shayna, it's like, it had to fucking be Miss Ohio. Really? Perfect 10 across the board? It had to be her. Really?
I know.
Okay, what they're trying to do is use Audrey to prove that Ryan was two-timing Shayna.
Right, which he wasn't.
But Ryan tells Audrey...
Do you recall that he told you that he had plans to watch the vice presidential debate with his parents?
Yes.
Now, did he tell you that he was also watching the debate with his girlfriend?
No.
He had big plans to watch the vice presidential debate with his parents. Woof. Are you kidding?
I know.
And he doesn't mention Shayna. Now, Shayna was invited to watch the debate with him and his parents. Can you imagine a worse date? The vice presidential debate with this guy and his parents?
I know. Well, what year was this, like the Kamala Harris, Mike Pence thing? Because that was must-see TV. Remember
I don't
The
think
Fly?
it was. Oh, The Fly.
Remember The Fly?
I don't think it was, girl.
I don't know.
Seriously, a big, hey, why don't you come over?
I know.
Hot stuff, and we'll watch the vice presidential debate with my parents.
I just think that, like, Miss Ohio is here to be like, I don't know what any of you are talking about. I never met this guy.
Yeah. And, like, none of this is her fault.
No.
And, like, okay, she's got to go back to work.
Exactly. Totally.
Everyone has to go back to work, Shayna.
She's probably like a dental assistant at Euler's office.
Right?
You know what I mean?
The two of them.
Totally.
What a duo. And I mean that sincerely.
And then they bring some saleswoman from a Dillard's to the stand.
Did you say she worked at Dillard's?
Yeah, I don't know what Dillard's is.
Dillard's, it's like, always thought it was like a department store, isn't it?
I always imagined it to be the place where Robert Durst got busted stealing the hoagie.
No.
I always imagine it's like a grocery store.
No, Dillard's is like, I feel like it's like a Nordstrom where it has like a lot. It's not like
really?
Like a department store, but it's something that's like in a big department store, but it's still, oh my God, I can hear how this sounds and how stupid I sound right now. I'm sorry, TikTok.
You're a city hick.
Like a Nordstrom or something.
So Shayna goes to the same department like multiple times in a week to scream about how she's going to kill her boyfriend?
Maybe. I mean, maybe she thinks that Tara's her friend too.
Maybe.
This seems to be a trend.
Yeah, maybe.
Because she's saying that hours before Ryan was killed, Shayna was upset and talking about how she was going to kill him, and Shayna said this multiple times. So either that was the one conversation that she had with Tara, where Shayna's like, hey, Tara, what's going on? Like, here's another smoothie from the food court.
Can I just say, this goes to my point that, like, Shayna didn't have anybody in her life.
No, she didn't.
No one was talking her off of the obsessive train. No, she's finding clerks and dentists to hang out with and message at 10 at night rather than, like, having a friend.
Right.
Where's that girl that she was in the bikini photo with on the balcony at spring break?
She went on spring break. That's a good question. Where are those people?
It just makes me sad that there was nobody in her. Like, no one shows up at trial for her. No one is there for. We never hear about her family.
Yeah. I just have a lot of questions for Tara, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah. The Dillard's employee?
Yeah, because it's like, was this a one-time thing? Did she have to say, like, okay, Shayna, like, we're closing now? Did they exchange phone numbers? How did she get the dentist's personal phone number to text her at 10 o'clock at night? These are questions I really want the answers to. Tara, slide into the DMs. I have some questions.
I don't know why she's here, but she's here to say that
she found out her boyfriend was seeing somebody else. She was just very, very upset, and she was kind of saying how she was going to kill him multiple times.
Can you say that again, please? I was talking over you.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yes.
I think she's there for the multiple times that even people at the mall are hearing about how Shayna wants to kill Ryan.
Right.
Like Shayna, you know how before we were like, Shayna's not really talking to people about this? I was wrong about that because it seems like she's telling everyone she wants to murder her boyfriend.
Yeah, and then the defense calls one of Ryan's neighbors. This is the only person who corroborates that Shayna was actually being abused by him.
Yes.
Because she says that one day, like, Shayna showed up at her house with a welt on her arm and said that Ryan had hit her. So she's here to corroborate that, like, Ryan was abusing her. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because then we get these jailhouse informants from after the first conviction who knew Shayna when she was locked up.
Each one of them is happier than the next to be here to be like, this bitch totally lied about everything.
Right. Now, I don't believe Shayna.
Yeah.
But we also, just to say, jailhouse informants aren't the most reliable.
It's like to one day out of the penitentiary to go to the courthouse.
And also maybe like whatever you know, maybe you get something reduced.
Yeah,
and that's fine, but I don't believe Shayna to begin with. So
Same.
whether they're here or or not is kind of irrelevant to me.
One of them mentions,
what did she tell you?
About the rape and the abuse, that it did not happen that night.
Nothing further.
We've never heard about
what?
I know. We've never heard about a rape. So I don't even know what that's in reference to.
Right. And so then they have like a doctor testifying to her mental state and sort of like listing all these psychological disorders that she has.
I mean, and like, I guess what we always say, like, many things can be true. Maybe she did have a borderline personality. Like, she does not seem well to me.
No, but you can't blame all of this
No.
on being an unmedicated borderline personality. Like,
Agreed.
that's not a thing.
And right.
Also,
yeah.
do you know how many unmedicated borderline personality people I know?
No, really? Really?
Oof, not on.
So then it's like, will she or won't she testify?
Of course she will.
Michelle,
She
the prosecutor.
can't wait to get
I
on
know.
the stand.
She's like, Michelle, the prosecutor's like, she's going to testify. Who's shocked?
Who's shocked? Not me.
Not me.
Not me. But the defense is like, no, hold on. It was necessary.
Right.
Very necessary. Basically, what the defense is saying, we have to prove how unstable she is. So, of course, we're going to put her on the stand.
And also, like, quote, what a monster he was.
Yeah.
So this is where we learn about the, quote, orgasm defense.
Oh, my God.
I know, we don't have to get into this, but essentially she's on the stand talking about how, like, he would torment her for having been abused as a kid and how that affected their sex life.
He screamed at me, "You're a up person, and you're a person because you were touched when you were a little girl, and that's why you can't orgasm, and that's why I can't love you, and that's why no one will ever be able to love you."
And so, like, she wasn't having orgasms and he was ordering things off the internet to help it. And the defense lawyer wants to say, I hated this conversation. I hate it now. I hated it in the courtroom. I hate everything about it.
It's also so creepy because in every shot of the defense attorney asking her about the orgasm defense, there's this 90-year-old judge sitting right behind him whose face you can fully see. And he's not being weird. He's just making facial expressions like anybody does, but it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the G-shot injection.
Why? Yes. I don't know what that is.
As per the internet.
Right.
My search history.
R.I.P.
It's real bad.
I know.
As per the internet.
You're never going to be elected to Congress now, girl.
Thank God.
I know.
On the off chance that like everyone voted for me as a joke. Like I'm in 10 Things I Hate About You or whatever. Or some teen movie. There wasn't a voting thing in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Can you get the facts straight?
I'm sorry, that's
for
more
the
like
love
Mean
of God?
Girls, right?
Yeah.
Or she's all that. Anyway,
The
point is, as per the internet, and it's an injection that increases the size and the thickness of your G-spot. This also can't be real. This is bullshit. This is a stupid scam. It feels like, you know those ads that would be like, here's a penis enlarger, would be that like really poorly drawn cartoon. They're always cartoons where there's like a pump or something. None of these things work, and none of them matter.
You're not going to do like a peen shot, are you? That's going to like make your peen bigger? Is that a thing?
No, but wasn't there like a pump?
Yeah. There's a pump.
I think the G-shot is the equivalent to that, but of course ours is even more painful.
Can I ask a question as a gay man?
Sure.
Is the G-spot real?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's a real anatomical thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm so happy to know that.
Oh, I'm glad you're happy.
Yeah. I am happy.
Good.
I'm always happy to learn.
We're happy too. But that's not a thing. Don't do that, and don't Google it. If you're curious online, don't Google it. Please don't do it because this is like not a real medical thing.
No,
and I'm like concerned for the safety of our listeners and the health of. Please don't do any of this. None of it's real. It's all a scam. They're going to take your money and harm your body. Don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do it. I also don't think it is. I don't think it happened.
I don't know that I'm allowed to comment on whether I think it happened or not. It's
I don't
just
know.
like in general, I don't trust her. You know what I mean?
And we don't hear from anyone on Shayna's side.
Uh-huh.
We don't hear from anyone to talk about her history of abuse or anything that's happened in her life.
Or really like a friend. And I'm not saying that like every abused person has a friend to go to. I'm not saying that at all. But incidentally, we don't get any friend or journal entry or even text messages about her talking about the abuse. There's not a lot of corroborating evidence for it. And I know that sometimes there isn't and it's very real still.
Yes.
I'm just saying incidentally in this instance, we don't get any of that.
And also because it's just the summation of everything, right?
Yeah.
Because all of these things are happening and like now her story's changing.
Yeah, and I'm just going to also say, like, when somebody admits to shooting a person and then letting them live for 15 minutes and then shooting them 6 more times just to watch them die, you lose a lot of credibility with me. Just in general. You know what I mean?
I would think so. And also don't text your dentist at 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly. So we get her version of the events on the night that Ryan died.
And this is a new version now. This is a brand new version. Because remember, the last version was he was literally like throwing her all over the house and dragging her through the door and whatever, and she had no injuries and whatever. But now they were screaming at each other.
Right.
He was saying incredibly hurtful things. He was saying, I could kill you right now and no one would know. That's a new quote. She didn't say that in the beginning.
Honest to God.
That's brand new. So then they both reached for the gun. That's her actual quote.
Yep.
Like she thought like she saw her life flash before her eyes.
Yes.
He was going to kill her. And I'm like, wait, but I thought he threw you out of the house and the reason you went back in was like to get your things.
Stuff. Yeah.
But now you both reached for the gun.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this is a fucking bullshit story. Yeah. And she just says like she got up, grabbed the gun, and she shot him.
Right.
And prosecutor Michelle, so that's Shayna being questioned by her own attorney.
Yeah.
It's now prosecutor Michelle's turn. Prosecutor Michelle goes,
We prepped for years for Shayna Hubers to be cross-examined.
We had spent 7 years. 7 years we had been pouring through this material. Michelle, Cheryl, and I, and Bill Birkenauer knew this case so well that no matter which direction they went, I knew that we would have something to fight.
No matter what direction they went in, we were prepared.
And also, I'm sitting here thinking like, well, she also changed her story entirely.
Yeah.
So you can just go back to the original video and say what changed.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But she goes even farther.
Yeah, they use text messages to show that she was the sexual aggressor, begging him to initiate sex with her. That's pretty clear evidence that like he wasn't trying to have sex with her ever.
But she says, and we see the text, will you initiate it in person? Because I don't want to force myself on you sexually anymore. And the lawyer says she makes Shayna say the word anymore. And she's like, what's the last word in that text?
And also Michelle the prosecutor wasn't looking at, she memorized it.
Yes.
She's read it so many times she fucking
7 years? She doesn't have that
every
text
day.
memorized.
Totally.
She's in the wrong line of
The
work.
first thing she reads in the morning, the last thing she reads
This
before
is
bed.
showbiz, baby. You have to know your lines when you go
true.
into court.
It's true.
And then we have text from Ryan saying, I appreciate everything you've done. Everything that's happening and everything you're saying makes it much more apparent to me that you should probably be pursuing a relationship with one of those guys you were telling me about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's trying to say, and in what I'm reading, and what is presented to us in these 43 minutes, he's trying to let her down easy.
Totally. And then we're back to the interrogation room, and she's talking about like all the different plastic surgery he wanted to get. He wanted a nose job, and she says to a police officer.
After she asked for a lawyer and then said, on second thought.
Yeah. She looks at this cop and says,
one of our last conversations we had that was good was that he wants my best friend who's a dentist to do his veneers and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job he wanted.
I gave him the nose job he always wanted.
Oh my God.
She says that to a cop.
I mean, this is all the jury needs, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because the prosecution is showing this video also to show how totally calm she was during the statement. Like, probably a sociopath.
Yeah.
But not what the defense was saying about how she was manic and she was out of control. Like, she's very casually telling them what happened. Is it a different story than what she's saying now? Absolutely. But her demeanor.
And there's no emotion then or now or on the 911 call.
The most emotion is when she's dancing around saying that she did it. That's the most we see out of her.
Yes. So the trial lasted 10 days. The jury goes out. It takes them 5 hours. The defense attorney goes, we would have liked it if they had been out longer.
I mean, yeah. And Shayna's found guilty of murder.
Yeah, and the sentencing is right away. So she can either get 20 to 50 years or life, and they give her life in prison.
Now we meet one of Ryan's friends.
Yeah.
And he goes, I hope that every single day is the worst day of her life. No. Let me be clear.
I know.
This is going to sound harsh, but I hope her day today is worse than it was yesterday, and I hope tomorrow is worse than it is today. She took a friend of mine for no reason at all. There'd be no penalty severe enough for there to be justice.
I hope today is worse than yesterday, and I hope tomorrow is worse than today.
I know. And everyone, like, the dad is here to say, like, I mean, what everybody knows, like, she took this man away from them. Like, he says, I never got to meet my grandkids.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, it's so sad, and especially like not even 30 years old. He had so much to give the world, like his own law firm. I know I keep going back to that and it sounds like a joke, but it's not.
I turned 29 years old. Like, this kid totally had his eye on running for Congress or running. He was never going to do any of this shit that, like, and I'm not saying that people in those positions don't do that. I'm just saying that, like, at 29 years old, I bet he was like dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
We could give him a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I
totally,
mean? Like, we could have given him a chance and Shayna took that away, and, you know, we're just meeting all these people who are devastated by it. And it's like, fuck you, Shayna, for for doing what you did and lying about all this stuff and then changing your story and like.
I know.
I wonder if Dr. Euler has any appointments. Because I have some sensitivity on this back molar, and I'm just wondering. She seems nice. I'm scared of the dentist. I feel like Dr. Euler might be a little nice.
She totally.
Especially with Audrey, too.
She'd have one of those signs that says, I cater to cowards.
Yeah. What is that? Is that real?
Oh, that's like a real dentist thing. Yeah.
I should go to one of those.
Totally. Oh, girl, we did episode 3 of what's it called? Killer Cases?
Killer Cases, yeah. And this is called Murder in the Kentucky Hills, episode 3.
Oh, my God. Fam, if you want more Jillian and me, join us on the Patreon. Over 300 full ad-free bonus episodes to download a binge right this second.
Yeah.
Remember, we were just talking about this at the top. Remember when we did Bad Vegan?
Yes.
And I had gone to that restaurant and
know.
it was disgusting.
Cashew cheese. I'll never get over.
It still haunts me to this day.
I know.
That's one of my favorite series we've ever covered, though.
It's pretty crazy.
It's bananas.
But so, yeah, it's like the ad-free versions of the episodes you get on the regular feed, including these bonus episodes, and then the long series, like The Vow and Tiger King and all that stuff.
Yeah, like the Menendez one where Eric called from the payphone from prison.
Yes, Heaven's Gate, Lorena,
and
Murder
then
Among
like
the Mormons.
Serial Season 1, The Staircase.
Relentless, Wild Crime, Love Fraud, everything. And the list is ongoing, I promise.
It's true.
To everyone asking, are you going to do this? Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Totally. Other than that, fam, join the Facebook group, come in and meet a bunch of your True Crime Obsessed best friends.
Yeah.
Follow us on the TikTok. It's True Crime Obsessed Pod. Follow us on the Instagram. It's True Crime Obsessed Podcast.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
We're everywhere. We love you.
We love you so much. Thanks for listening, and just come find us on the things,
Yeah. Okay,
So,
bye.
This is not okay. This is not okay.
I bet on the first time he liked it. Also, the prosecutor.
I don't know. Let's not put that out there. Okay. Let's not put it out there for someone to hear.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll like it. No.
Yeah.
So we get more photos of his apartment.
Yeah.
There are 2 books on his shelf.
Oh.
One of them is End the Fed by Ron Paul.
Wow.
And one of them is New Deal or Raw Deal, just about how FDR fucked up the country.
Oh my God. I mean, the guys from Kentucky, I don't think Ryan and I would have been friends. I don't think that she should have killed him.
No, I don't think any of that, but I always look at the details.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ron Paul, End the Fed, holy
I know.
shit. Do you still talk to Reese?
Totally.
Is she around?
Have you seen how much their son looks like the cross of the two of them?
Oh my God.
It's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway.